What's up, guys? This is your boy Kofi back at it with another video, and um, we're gonna be talking about a whole stuff. As you know, of course, back at it with another video, and um, we're gonna be talking about a whole stuff. As you know, of course, today is my birthday, and yeah, I'm just enjoying it. I'm glad to see another year. Uh, just thankful to God, um, got to see another year. I'm not still alive. A lot of people, passed away of COVID, so I'm just glad to see that. Hold on, man. Do a recap of the press conference that happened yesterday. That's the Chicago Bears conference that happened between the owner George McCaskey, the president and CEO Ted Phillips, and general manager Ryan Pace and head coach Matt Nagy yesterday. So there was a few things, kind of the way it started out. It started out with George McCaskey, and then you had Ted Phillips, and some of the questions that they're asking um, George McCaskey was just the overview of what he thought of the season was, with how the season went, with Ted Phillips having his part in the franchise. It was just the overview of what he thought of the season was, with how the season went, with Ted Phillips having his part in the franchise, and the way that George kind of put that out there was just kind of iffy. Like, first off, he was kind of talking about like kind of like the players and how they overcame a 6 game losing streak. How Matt Nagy was able to kind of put the guys together through all the mess that they went through, even while losing to one of the worst teams like the Detroit Lions, even with all their offensive linemen, with Ryan Pace not addressing the linemen in the offseason, lines, even with all their offensive linemen, with Ryan Pace not addressing the linemen in the offseason, spending so much money on Robert Quinn. Well, that money could have been allocated to the offense. He didn't talk about that. And he was making it a point that him and Ted Phillips and he was making it a point that him and Ted Phillips, it's a partnership, and that they're not football guys, and that he said that he didn't have an input in football operations. Well, newsflash, my friend. So, newsflash. So I'm gonna play a little bit of this clip. And there we go.
Mark Potash.
George, even with this year's playoff appearance, the Bears have been in the playoffs 7 times in 28 years since the end of the Ditka era. And to a lot of fans, that reflects on you. So, how much merit is there to the idea that the Bears need people more rooted in football to make these football decisions than you and Ted?
Well, Ryan and Matt are our guys. I've heard it often that uh, Ted meddles in football affairs, and that notion is just absurd. It just doesn't happen. He's the president and CEO. Ryan reports to Ted, but the idea that Ted or I meddle in football decisions just isn't true.
No, that's not my question. It's not about meddling in the actual football, like on the field. I think you are judging the coach and general manager, and I think people feel that the Bears need people more rooted in football to make that decision.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Well, that's a valid criticism. My performance is evaluated by ownership and the board. And that's how that process works.
So as you can see, George McCaskey mentioned that Ted Phillips didn't have a part to play into this franchise, which we know that is a lie. Since 1999, Ted Phillips has been the president. And I've echoed with this sentiment so many times. The Bears were at least 15. I'm going to put it up on this screen right there. The Bears were 15 or at 500, or they were 15 at or below 500 15 times. They won 6 division championships. They've been to the playoff 5 times, 1 Super Bowl appearance, 13 games where they were below 500, or 13 seasons where they were below 500, 1 Super Bowl appearance, and no Super Bowls. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. That is crazy. So that's pretty much, so you went 15 seasons. That's pretty much almost his whole tenure, where they were below. Ted Phillips vetoed, I think Phil Emery was the general manager, but the general manager, he wanted to draft LaDainian Tomlinson, who is going to be a Hall of Famer. 2006 NFL MVP. Broke the touchdowns records in a season. He wanted to draft LaDainian Tomlinson, but yet he vetoed it because he didn't believe in he didn't believe in LaDainian Tomlinson. 2005. He and the general manager said that we have a quarterback in Rex Grossman, even though this guy was mediocre. He said we already have a quarterback. 2005, they could have drafted Aaron Rodgers. And guess what? They ended up picking Cedric Benson. And of course, 2017, Ryan Pace selects Mitchell Trubisky because he refused to interview Deshaun Watson, even though everybody and their mama knew that he was a national champion. That he went up against one of the top teams in the nation, a juggernaut of Alabama, and beat them. But he said, "No, I don't want to hear it. I like Mitchell Trubisky because he drives his grandmother's Toyota Corolla." My gosh. If that doesn't speak mediocrity, I don't know what does. And George McCaskey says him and Milhouse. Yeah, I said it. Milhouse. They do a collaborative effort. And this is why a lot of Bears fans are very upset, because they spend their hard-earned money, they spend their time, their energy, all of their resources into this team. And guess what? They get back crap. Let me ask you something, right? If somebody tells you about this movie, they show you a trailer, up until, they actually show the movie, they show the trailer, man, they show you this trailer, oh man, this trailer looks so good. This looks like it's gonna be one of the best movies out there. It's gonna be looking so great. And then when you go see the movie, you see that it's crap. The plot is bad. The characters are bad. It's not what you expected. and you spend all your hard-earned money because what you saw from that trailer, the trailer looked so epic. The special effects looked nice. The cutscenes, the action looked nice. But up until that point, when you saw the movie, guess what? You were down because it didn't meet your expectations. That's the same thing with the Chicago Bears. In 2019, after that spectacular 2018 season, we had that Bears 100. They had all the old Bears and all the current Bears up until that point. All the Bears fans there was excited. But as soon as the start of the 2019 season, the team just went downhill because you thought you had higher expectations, Super Bowl aspirations. But up until that point, the first game, that's when we knew that the Chicago Bears were going to go downhill. But anyway, as we're going to get to the press conference. So George McCaskey, he wanted to keep Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy because he reiterated the fact of during that 6-game losing streak, saying that they were able to overcome it. They were able to overcome that losing streak, and that he was so proud of the team. They won 3 of the last 4 after that 6-game losing streak. Owners would fire their head coach after a 6-game losing streak, because how do you go from being 5-1 all the way to 5-7, and then you backdoor your way into the playoffs and you get blown out by the Saints? I mean, a lot of owners would just fire their head coach, but no, not George McCaskey. The Philadelphia Eagles fired their head coach, Doug Peterson. 5 years, won 3 playoff games, won them a Super Bowl. And guess what? They fired him. That just shows you that the Bears have no accountability. There's no accountability in this organization. None. George McCaskey does not hold anybody accountable for their actions. And it just really needs to change. This organization needs to change. And the fact that he also had Ted Phillips in there, I think some of the reporters, they were really grilling Ted Phillips, and you can tell with the way Ted Phillips was talking is that he kind of became irritated with some of the questions they were asking him, and then also with George McCaskey, like he kind of got irritated the way they were asking him, because those reporters, they're asking him good questions with the way the season was going, the evaluation, if they had their hands on the team, and we all knew they had their hands on the team. But other than that, when we go on to Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy's the draft, Mark Potash was kind of reiterating, what did you learn from that point until that 2017 draft up until now? Like, what did you learn from it? From drafting pretty much Mitchell Trubisky over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. And with Ryan Pace, I mean, he was kind of he kind of answered the question interestingly, saying that he knew that there had to be a little bit more quarterback play. He answered it more professionally, saying that we have to play we have to have better quarterback play, and that everything is all on the table. Like he knew that he learned as a general manager that everybody thought that Mitchell Trubisky was going to have an upside. But now, as he's learned through over the years, he knows that how should I say it? he knows that him and Matt Nagy are going to have more of a collaborative effort to pick the right quarterback for their system and to win now. And we know that during desperation mode, when Ryan Pace is in desperation mode, he's going to put all of his cards on the chip. Remember back in 2018 when Ryan Pace was in desperation mode, they traded multiple first round picks to get Khalil Mack. And so don't be surprised if Deshaun Watson comes to Chicago, or don't be surprised if Dak Prescott comes to Chicago. Those are the 1-2 things to watch out for. So don't be surprised if they come to Chicago. But yeah, I'm gonna kind of break this video up in half, but I'm gonna edit it out. But we're gonna see what happens this off season. So guys, just stay tuned for it. Take it easy. Peace.